Peter was martyred, he was said to have committed suicide after he had been outlawed and considered an enemy of his country. Suspicious Galba immediately succeeded Nero. He was accepted as emperor by the Roman state and the Praetorian Guard due to Galba's career as a military governor in Spain and the widespread discontent with Nero. A few months later, Otho was furious with Galba for overlooking him in favor of Lucius Piso to be his heir, so he assassinated Galba and became emperor. Then Aulus Vitellius overthrew him in a civil war and became emperor. He, in turn, was overthrown by Vespasian. Vespasian's victory in 69 AD ended the civil war and marked the beginning of a new period of stability under the Flavian dynasty, which he founded. He didn't instigate any policies or laws targeted at Christians. He was familiar with Christianity during his time in Judea, so he didn't see it as a political threat to the Roman Empire. The early church enjoyed a period of tolerance and was largely left alone by the Roman government. While the early church had lost two of its chief shepherds, Peter and Linus, to martyrdom, the church needed a new leader. The chair of Peter would not remain empty for long, so Linus was succeeded by Anaclitus, also known as Cletus, who was chosen to be the next bishop of Rome. When Anaclitus became the third pope of the church, Vespasian was already the emperor and was soon succeeded by Titus, according to the accounts that he was pope around 76 AD. However, other accounts claim that he was pope from 80 AD, which would place his election at the tail end of Titus's reign, which lasted for a couple of years. During the reigns of Vespasian and Titus, the church did not undergo persecution and experienced a period of peace, in contrast to the intense but localized persecutions under Nero. This lack of interference allowed for the growth and organization of the Christian community. After Titus died unexpectedly in 81 AD, his younger brother, Domitian, became emperor. Now, Domitian was not well received by the aristocracy, as Vespasian and Titus were, probably because of his offensive and cruel behavior. They generally associate his name with the persecution of Christians. He set himself as a reformer of morals and religion to restore Roman tradition and legitimize his reign. He demanded to be addressed as Lord and God, to establish a powerful cult of personality and assert his absolute authority. He also demanded loyalty to the Roman state and its gods, and for pagan sacrifices to be offered. The Christians refused to do any of this and would not renounce their faith, so this led to Christians being considered atheists. This act of defiance was also considered treasonous and worthy of punishment by exile, imprisonment, or the confiscation of property. So Christians were arrested, imprisoned, and tortured. Many were martyred. Anaclitus had to lead the church through these trials. So who was Anaclitus, the third pope? Anaclitus is said to have been born in Athens, Greece. His name means one who has been called back. Anaclitus, also known as Cletus, is said to have been an early convert to Christianity and was baptized by Peter, with whom he also worked closely. Peter ordained him and made him a priest of the church. The papacy, by the reign of Pope Cletus, had begun to establish rules and edicts, though not in a formally written sense as we understand them today. Pope Anacletus decided to divide the Roman Christian community into 25 districts, which we now call parishes, and assigned bishops to oversee those districts, to ensure the faithful were cared for even when leaders were arrested or killed. This also helped each to establish churches and decide the hierarchy used for each one. He ensured that the bishop had the necessary experience, and he is said to have ordained many priests during his time as pope. He made changes to churches and burial sites nearing the end of his papacy. He ordered the construction of a new church in honor of St. Peter and requested that the church reserve several spots in the nearby cemetery for martyrs. He established burial grounds for martyrs in the catacombs and is remembered for building a small shrine near the grave of Peter, a seed that would one day grow into St. Peter's Basilica itself. He believed that the martyrs deserved a befitting resting place for their sacrifice and witness to the faith with their blood. On Peter, the church was founded. With Linus, the guiding light of the Holy Spirit led the church. With Anaclitus, it began to get structured, an organizer in the shadows, stacking bricks on the already laid foundation. Rome continued to persecute Christians who were accused of being atheists for refusing to accept worship of the emperor and their pagan gods. And Anaclitus, being the leader of the church, lived with the understanding that he would possibly suffer martyrdom once he was discovered. And so, just like Peter and Linus before him, he also suffered martyrdom around 92 AD. However, he was laid to rest near his predecessors, Saints Peter and Linus, on Vatican Hill, united with the first shepherd of the flock. His name is mentioned in the Roman canon, Eucharistic Prayer 1. Although the church once observed separate feast days for St. Cletus and St. Anaclitus, it now recognizes the two men as one person, known as Pope St. Anacletus, with a single feast day on April 26th.